Good morning, members. I rise in support of H.R. 181004 for so many reasons. One of my first jobs in Colorado, I was the director of the Holocaust Awareness Institute at the University of Denver. And during that time, we worked with a lot of high schools in the Denver metro area, including West High School. And there was a teacher at West who every year raised money to take her students, once the Holocaust Museum opened, to see the Holocaust Museum in DC. And I remember her approaching me and saying, she wanted to take, she was raising money this one year instead of to DC to take them to Poland. And I remember her coming to me and saying, I have students who can't get passports. Do you think there's a way you can help me get them to Poland? And I didn't understand. I was in my 20s. I had just started my career. And she began to explain to me that they were not documented. And she wanted a way for them to be able to get to Poland because they felt a connection and an affinity with the Holocaust survivors who came here and who were not documented. And those who did come through our immigration system and those who did not. And it brought me very close to the story of my own family. And my ex-husband's great-grandfather escaped mandatory conscription in the Russian military. The Russian military recruited Jewish boys when they were 13 and 14 years old. A lot of the kids, to try to get out of the mandatory conscription, maimed themselves. They would cut off a finger, cut off a hand, cut off an arm. And my children's great-great-grandfather decided instead he was going to escape Russia. And he was told that he had to go to the middle of America and hide. And he came to Colorado and he hid. We don't know his last name anymore because he changed it. We think he was related to the Fishman family with whom he moved in. And he started a chicken farm on Colfax. We believe actually it was where Mile High Stadium is today. Representative Salazar talked about the language that was used to define members of the immigrant community. The language that was used and is still used today to talk about Jewish people is as repugnant. We have to look at our history to understand what our future is. This man, we think Ambus, we'll call him Great-Grandpa Ambus, gave birth to a boy who served in our military. He was a ham radio operator, and he was put on a ship to be able to intercept communications during the war, during World War II. He served with joy. He put the first radio network into a grocery store in Cincinnati. When they left Colorado, they went to Cincinnati. And he put the first radio system so that, clean up on aisle 10. He put that first system in the grocery store in Cincinnati. WAEF was his radio channel. Al, Ed, and Fred. All three of those boys served in World War II. And they continued to serve our community and build businesses and families and create what is America. I was on the faculty at Metro State University before the Dreamer Act. And I had students who were welcomed at Metro, and it was a conflict. Not for me, but it was something that Metro State had to stand up and say, all Colorado kids are welcome here. And when that Dreamer Act came around and my students could come out of hiding, that's when it became real. We're putting them back in hiding. When we say this is not an issue for Colorado, we are wrong. I am a firm and strong believer and supporter of the 10th Amendment. There are things we can do to protect our community, and it is our job to figure them out. What do they look like? What do they mean to us? Can we stand behind and say that we do support the children who are here and the families they have formed? When my family came here, 14 years old for Great-Grandpa Ambus, My grandmother came from Hungary. She was put on a train by herself at 14 years old. My great-grandfather was put on a boat and then a train, was put on a boat when he was also 15 years old. Those are kids without families coming to America to save their future. We must not forget the contributions that have been made by people who have come and colored up our country. That color is what we need. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker and Representative Benavides, my neighbor in Commerce City, where we have many dreamers, and in my community in Aurora, who I love deeply, and the fear that has gripped that community is real. Let's stop it together.